Moody Bible Institute up in Chicago. He founded it. So he was the Billy Graham of the 19th century. Look out. In fact, Dwight L. Moody had a standard kind of crusade formula that he used that ultimately allowed him to get in front of 100 million people. And that was that whenever he would go into a city, he would gather the various pastors. Didn't make any difference what the denomination was, Presbyterian, Methodist, Lutheran, Baptist, didn't make any difference. He wanted as many people that wanted to participate to participate. He rented some big central auditorium within that city. He always had some well-known gospel singer that would sing. He had a room that when people made decisions at his crusade, that counselors would take them to that room and begin to speak with them about their decision. Does this remind you of anybody else's crusades? It's the way Billy Graham did it. When Billy Graham got going, he used Dwight L. Moody as his model. He did what Moody had done. It became his temple. All right. Dwight L. Moody's dad died when he was 4 years old. His mom was left with 9 children. One can only imagine. And so when Dwight L. Moody was 17 years old, he went to live with an uncle. Moody had not grown up in church. And so when he went to live with his uncle in Boston, his uncle had a few basic rules that were going to apply. And one of the rules was that if you're under my roof, you go to church on Sunday morning. And so Moody went with an attitude, with a huff, with an eye roll. I know that's hard to imagine that teenage boys would have such an attitude, but I know it's shocking to hear that, but that happens sometimes. And so he would go with an attitude, and he went to the boys' Sunday school class at his uncle's church and sat there. And Moody had never gone past the 5th grade, so he couldn't read the Bible. He was illiterate for all intents and purposes. And again, didn't want to be there, and every affect, every fiber of his being just gave off that kind of sense. But his Sunday school teacher was a guy by the name of Mr. Kimball. Mr. Kimball tells the story that one day while Mr. Kimball was at work, knowing Dwight was at his uncle's boot shop in Boston, that he felt prompted to go and witness to this young man that he had had in Sunday school month after month and just, had a bad attitude about everything. And he said, I didn't want to. So he had a minimum. Mr. Kimball had a minimum. He said, I didn't want to go. But he said, all throughout that work day, the Spirit just kept prompting me, you got to go speak to this young man, got to go speak to this young man. So he said, I had a little break late afternoon at work, so he said, I left my office and walked downtown, was coming to the boot shop, and he said, every excuse was going through my mind as to why to not go in there and talk to this 17-year-old kid, Dwight, who had a bad attitude in my Sunday school class. He said, I invented the excuse that, the boot factory, the boot shop's open. I don't want to go in there during business hours. But he said, the Spirit just continued to prompt me. He said, this guy ain't going to be willing to hear a thing I've got to say. But he said, the Spirit just kept prompting me. He said, in fact, I walked by the boot shop, just avoided going in. And he said, but the Spirit just kept prompting me. You see how strong and none of us can be? None of us can be powerful things. He said, finally, I yielded, and I went in, and he said Dwight was in the back room, and he was just putting boots in boxes waiting to be shipped. So he said, I went in there, and he said, I put my hand on the young man's shoulder, and he said, just witnessed to him for a few minutes, and Mr. Kimball said by his own description, it's pretty weak. It's pretty weak. He said, I bumbled over my words, and he said, it's pretty weak. In that moment, in the back of that boot shop, Dwight L. Moody had the Spirit of God come over him, and he yielded himself to Jesus Christ, never looked back. That's how Dwight L. Moody but it's going to convert it. Because of Mr. Kimball yielded, submitted to God's intervention that God was planning for Dwight, and it had eternal significance. What's your name? Our Heavenly Father. Oh, there's a little bit of Jonah in all of us. We'll do what you want if it's convenient. We'll say what you want us to say if it's kind of vanilla. But Lord, there are folks this morning in this sanctuary that have a vanilla. A person, a relationship, circumstance, a challenge, a risk that you've been dealing with them about. But up to now, maybe they've been resistant. We've all been in that spot, in that moment. We've all been a Jonah and wanted to run. But Lord, we're reminded today that ultimately, as believers, our lives are your story. And that when you prompt us to deal with the minimum in our life, it means that you have selected us out of all the other people for that task, for that opportunity. And so forgive us when we think your moving in our lives is an interruption. But help us to learn from Jonah, from the book of Jonah today, that you're not an interruption, but you are gracing and blessing and privileging us with a divine invitation to participate in where you're doing an intervention. And when we do that, there can be eternal results. Just like with Mr. Kimball and a young man named Dwight. And so, Lord, may we be yielded and surrendered and submissive to you, giving you glory and praise for the invitations that you bring to our lives. For it is in Jesus' name that we pray.